You don't remember your father's face or your mother's voice. In the barrio, memory is a luxury because every day is survival, and survival burns the past out of you like fever. But there's one thing you do remember: music. Not songs on the radio, not street guitars. Something older, cleaner, something that doesn't belong in your world of dust, hunger, and gunshots in the distance. A piano. You don't know why it grips you so hard. You just know that when you hear it, faint, leaking out of a rich man's window across the city, it feels like someone presses a hand against your chest and keeps your heart from collapsing. So you make a decision that doesn't make sense. You start stealing. Not for drugs, not for food, not for shoes. For a broken piano you saw behind a pawn shop, sitting like a corpse with cracked teeth. It takes you months, a little cash at a time, a little risk at a time. You lie, you hustle, you run from men who would beat you for sport. You sleep with your hands clenched around coins like they're bullets. Finally, you drag it home through alleyways at night, scraping your palms raw on the wood. And when you set it down in your tiny room, when you sit in front of it and press a key, nothing. The sound is wrong, dead, like the piano is underwater. You should cry, you should scream, you should break it apart and curse the world for giving you hope. Instead, you keep trying, because even broken music is still music. For a while, that piano is your religion, your proof that you're still human. Then one night, your humanity gets stolen. You're walking back with a bag of cheap food when a van stops beside you. The door slides open. Hands grab your shirt. You kick, you bite, you scream. But nobody comes. In the barrio, screams are background noise. They throw you inside. The door shuts. The world disappears. You wake up tied to a pipe in a dark room with other kids. Some crying, some silent, some not. Some already gone behind the eyes. A man walks in and looks at you like you're livestock. He talks about prices, routes, buyers. And in that moment you understand. You were never poor. You were cheap. You don't know how you get free. You only remember motion, blood in your mouth, a broken bottle in your fist, a lock snapping, bodies moving in the dark. Then you're running, barefoot, bleeding, breath tearing apart your lungs. You make it out. You make it into the street where headlights flash, and for one insane second you think it's over. Then you remember the piano, your broken piano, still in your room, still waiting like a promise you made to yourself. And you do the stupidest thing a survivor can do. You go back. Not because you're brave, because that piano is the only proof you ever existed as more than an animal. You reach your place. You burst inside. You grab it, hugging it like a child. And the traffickers find you. The beating is not fast. It's instructional. They're teaching you what you are. A lesson carved into your skull with boots and fists. The last thing you hear is one of them laughing and saying, almost casually, "Kids like you don't need dreams." Then the world turns black. When you wake up again, the ceiling is different. The air smells like sweat, metal, and disinfectant. There are no windows. A man leans over you with a cigarette and a calm voice. "Look at him," he says to someone behind him. "He's like a goldfish." You try to speak, try to ask where you are, try to say your name, but your name is gone. You reach for memory and find nothing but blank water. A boy beside you whispers the nickname before anyone else can: Goldfish. And just like that, you become someone new. Not a child, not a dreamer, a blank page, the kind that cartels love the most. You learn quickly that this place isn't a prison. It's a factory. They don't lock you in because you can't escape. They lock you in because they're building something, and they don't want the product damaged. Every morning starts before the sun, if there even is a sun. Push-ups until your arms shake, running until you vomit, fighting until your nose breaks and you learn to breathe through blood. They don't call you by names. Names create people. People hesitate. So you become Goldfish because you forget everything. And forgetting becomes your advantage. Pain fades faster in your head. Trauma slides off you like rain. The instructors notice it and smile the way mechanics smile at a good engine. They teach you weapons. Pistols first. Simple, intimate. Then rifles. Then knives. Then hands. They teach you how to enter a room without sound. How to read faces. How to tell when someone is lying by watching their throat move when they swallow fear. Most of all, they teach you efficiency. Mercy is not forbidden here. It's irrelevant. That's where you meet them. Rat is small, fast, always smiling like the world hasn't chewed him up yet. Bear is huge and quiet, a wall with eyes that never soften. Ghost barely speaks at all. He's so calm it's like he already died once and didn't bother coming back fully. The four of you become a unit. Not friends, not really. Something closer to brothers raised by the same cruel father. In this place, brotherhood isn't warmth. It's strategy. If you fall, the others drag you up, not because they love you, but because survival is easier in a pack. But even a pack has dreams. Rat whispers his at night when the guards are far enough away. One day I'm leaving, he tells you. I'm gonna save money, find a girl, get out. You stare at him in the dark, trying to understand the words. Leaving, out, girl. They sound like fairy tales. You don't tell Rat he's stupid. You don't tell him hope is a liability. You just listen. Because somewhere deep inside that blank space in your head, you feel a pressure, like a memory trying to breathe. Months turn into years. You become better than the others. Not stronger than Bear. Not faster than Rat. Just colder. The instructors start using you as an example. When someone hesitates, they point at you. Goldfish doesn't hesitate. They're right. You don't. When they first send you out on a real job, your hands don't shake. Your heart doesn't race. You don't even feel adrenaline. You walk into a house where a man is begging, swearing he'll pay, swearing he didn't steal, swearing he has kids, and you shoot him cleanly, exactly where you were trained. One shot. Efficient. You don't think about his kids. You don't think about your own childhood. You think about angles, exit routes, fingerprints. Later, Bear throws up behind a wall. Ghost wipes blood off his sleeve with disgust. Rat sits beside you and whispers, "How do you do that?" You don't have an answer, because you're not doing anything. You're functioning. That's how you rise. The cartel notices. Promotions come fast. Better weapons. Better clothes. A name that spreads in low voices among men who kill for a living. Goldfish, the one who can't be haunted. Then one night, you're called into a room with a man wearing a clean shirt and expensive boots. His smile is polite. "Someone's planning to leave," he says. Your stomach doesn't tighten. Your face doesn't change. But something inside you shifts anyway, quietly. He slides a photo across the table. Rat. The man's voice stays calm, like he's ordering coffee. "Take care of it." You walk out with the photo in your pocket, and the camp feels different, like the walls moved closer. Rat meets you later, grinning like always. "We're getting out soon," he whispers. "I got a plan. Come with me." For a second you see it, an impossible version of life where the four of you disappear into the noise of the world. Then your training speaks louder than your heart ever learned to. Dreams get you killed. Dreams get others killed. You take Rat out beyond the fence line under the excuse of training. He keeps talking, excited, alive. He doesn't notice how your silence sharpens. When you finally stop walking, Rat looks at you and frowns. "What is it?" You raise the pistol. Rat's smile collapses. No, wait, Goldfish. You step close so he doesn't suffer. So it's fast. So it's merciful. And as you pull the trigger, you realize something with brutal clarity. Whatever innocence you had didn't die in the trafficker's room. It dies here, with Rat's blood in the dirt. After Rat, something changes. Not in the camp, in you. The silence in your head gets heavier, like it's not empty anymore, like it's hiding something. You start working higher-level jobs. Cleaner hits, political targets, corrupt officials who thought their power made them untouchable, rival traffickers, informants. You see how the system works. Law and crime braided together so tightly you can't tell where one ends. Judges bought with cash, cops bought with fear, politicians smiling on camera while bodies rot in the desert. And you realize something else. The cartel doesn't just sell drugs, it sells control. Then you hear a phrase during an assignment, two older men talking, laughing about the past. "One time," one of them says, "we grabbed a kid who fought like hell over a damn piano." The other laughs harder. "Yeah, a child with a broken piano." Your vision blurs. Your hand tightens around your weapon. That sentence hits you like a hammer to the skull. A child. Broken piano. Something tears open inside you. Images flood in. Dusty alleyways, scraped hands, cracked keys, a sound that felt like salvation. You stagger back into the shadows, breathing like you've been shot. Because suddenly you remember, you weren't born a weapon. You were a boy who wanted music. The next day, you do something irrational again. You buy a grand piano. Not stolen, not broken, real. It sits in a quiet room you rent under a fake name, and when you press the keys, the sound is so clean it makes your throat tighten. Your hands remember what your mind lost. For hours you play badly, clumsy, raw, but you keep going, chasing a feeling you thought was dead. For the first time in years, you're not efficient. You're alive. The cartel notices your absence, missed calls, ignored messages. They don't ask twice. Orders come down. Return, report, obey. You don't. Because now you understand the truth you avoided for years. If you stay, you will never be a person again. You'll only be the thing they made. Then the betrayal hits. You're driving back from the piano room when your phone buzzes with a message you weren't supposed to receive. A panicked voice note. Ghost breathing hard. "They're killing us. It's a purge. Bears down." Gunshots swallow the rest. Your blood goes cold. You turn the car around, speeding toward the last location you have, but you arrive too late. Bear is slumped against a wall, eyes open, chest dark. Ghost lies face down in the dirt like someone dropped him. The air smells like gasoline and cordite. Your family is gone, and the cartel has made its decision. You're the loose end. You don't mourn like a normal man. You don't fall to your knees. You scan angles. You count exits. Then headlights flash at the end of the street. They came fast. You get in the car and launch forward. The chase is immediate and violent. Tires screaming, engines howling, bullets cracking glass. You take turns like you're cutting a surgical line through the city, weaving through traffic, using civilians as cover without thinking, because that's what they trained you to do. A part of you hates how natural it feels. Another part of you is grateful. You lose one car by forcing it into a barrier, another by baiting it into oncoming traffic. But they keep coming because the cartel doesn't forgive. It erases. Finally, you break out onto a long coastal road where the city lights fade behind you and the ocean becomes a dark, endless sheet. Your car is damaged. Your hands are steady. Your mind is clear. Then you see someone ahead. A child. Small frame on the roadside, clutching a bag, looking lost in the night. Your foot hovers over the brake. Every instinct screams the same instruction. Witness. Loose end. Problem. If you stop, you risk everything. If you leave the child, you're still running, but maybe you live. If you kill the child, you guarantee your escape. That's the logic the cartel carved into you. But the memory of the piano presses back. You pull over. The child flinches, ready to run. You don't reach for your gun. You reach into the passenger seat and take out the one thing you kept. Something small from that room with the grand piano. A simple set of piano keys on a cheap chain. Not valuable, just a symbol. You hold it out like proof. The child stares. Confused. Behind you, engines approach. Distant but closing. You make your choice. You push the child toward the dunes. Toward the darkness where they can hide, and you get back in the driver's seat. Not to escape, to end it. You drive straight toward the edge where the road breaks into rock and water. The cartel cars gain ground, headlights exploding in your rear view. At the last moment, you don't spot. You don't swerve. You don't beg. You don't pray. You let the car fly. Impact. Cold water rushes in like hands grabbing your chest. The world becomes muffled, heavy, silent. As the car sinks, the noise of gunfire disappears. So does the chase. So does the cartel. So does Goldfish. Your lungs burn, but your mind is calm, because for the first time since you were a boy, you made a choice that wasn't survival. You chose creation over destruction, music over murder. And as the ocean closes above you, you don't think about blood. You think about sound, a clean note, finally played the right way.